Hey, hello everyone. Good morning. We'll wait for a couple more minutes and then we'll start. I hope my voice is audible. If it is audible, please someone thumbs up.
Yeah, it's audible.
Okay, good. Okay, let's start, guys. Once again, welcome everyone to the Power Platform Classmates 2022. So I would like to convey my warm welcome to all the attendees. So in spite of you guys busy schedule and weekends, you guys are spending your time to learn the Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform. So I'm extending your warm welcome for all of you. And also I'm extending the big thanks to all the speakers for accepting our invitation and presenting in today's session. So here's the first session. Like I'm just sharing my screen. The first session is going to be by the Ethan Rebelo, and he is going to present on the create custom tree view, the work breakdown structure, and the Power BI, Power Apps. So welcome, Ethan. And Ethan is a software engineer from the Cloud France, and he do have a good amount of knowledge on the Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform area. And the stage is all yours, Ethan. So please go ahead and start your presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Power Platform Classmates Event 2022. And it is my first webinar, actually. So I'll be walking you through what is a custom tree view WBS in Power Apps. So I'll just share my screen and I'll walk you through it. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So moving on, first I'll just show you how the WBS structure looks in project. So I've created a custom project over here. So if you go in schedule board, you will see this layout. It is a WBS structure over here where we have multiple tasks associated in a tree fashion. As you can see over here, we have multiple commands related to it in our project. And I'll even show you how it looks in advancement also. So here is the task name related to it. You have the WBS ID. This is the ID which requires in a way to sort the items in your CRM or Dynamics. So here is the layout, as you can see. So I've created something similar in Power Apps because we have this component available only to project entity in Dynamics and not available to any other custom entity. So I've created for custom entity. So I'll just show you. So I've created a Canvas application. For that, I'll just walk you through the tables that I've created. So first of the table is the project table. It is a custom table. And second one is the task related to that project. So let me show you the basic fields that are required. And I'm not even going to add many other fields, but the basic fields that is used. So the name, which is a primary field, the project planning ID, which comes by default. Apart from that, I haven't created anything in this table. The customizations are done on this table where we have the WBS structure look like. So I'll show you the fields that are required. So one of them is the outline number. So outline number is basically the same WBS ID number which we have over here. Then we have the project. The project is a lookup field that links to this particular table. Then we have the parent task. Parent task is a self table lookup that we use. Moving on to, we have the task start date and end date, and the primary ID, of course. So I created this application. This is a simple application where we have the project over here. Then let me just show you how it will look like. So if I click over here, I have this entire tree-like structure. This is WBA structure, similar to what we have in our dynamics. So how this structure comes on. So let me just show you. Mm, I've created this sample with our online. So you can get samples available. So here is one of the sample. So I just created a construction site template and the similar structure which you have over here. So the same structure is being maintained. So as you can see, you can just directly add a new task, everything. Like if I click submit, you'll see a new task has been created. If I want to select a particular task and create a child task with it, so you can do the same. So a child task will be created. You can just move up and down between those tasks and you can just directly move tasks. So for example, you want to move a task. So you can just directly select a task where you want to move the specific item to, or you can just create an independent task. It is a primary task that do not link to anyone, like this. You also have a delete option over here, which you can delete a specific task. So yeah, pretty much it is it has the similar working just like a dynamics. So I'll just walk you through how to create this entire structure. So starting on, we have this gallery over here. It let me just walk you through the initial part. Yeah, so here is the project. Okay, and in the project over here, we normally just select the project and just navigate to a specific item. So um, just a minute. Yeah. So here what I have created is I've created a global variable. So set function is a function where you can store data globally. So you can use across the app anywhere, like from any screens, you can take the data. We have another one called as update context that use data in the current screen context only. And if you move the screen, then the scope of that data is gone. So I've created a set variable where I have just selected the current gallery control, whatever we have selected into that variable, and I'm just navigating to the next screen. I've also created a new button so you can just add the project whatever you want. So for example, sample project, and then just click save and close. So a new project has been created. So as of now, I'll just go with this one. So here I have sorted the columns of the ta table which I use, filtering with those project which is linked to that specific uh, uh, filtering the task that is linked to that specific project. So I've selected the same variable which I've used in the first screen, and I've just mentioned that I need on the related project ID. And I'm sorting with the outline number, just like I did in the dynamics. If you can see, it is sorted in the WBS ID fashion. So creating a new task, let's go and create a new task. So how it is created? So I've used update context. So update context we can use for storing data or temporary, like not temporary on the screen. It takes all the data. So I've created over here the some values. So pop-up is just a variable that shows a pop-up, and the outline number is basically the outline which I've defined over here. So this is 1.2, 1.3 is the outline number of that respectively. I've created another label, just a minute. Yeah, level. So what is this? Basically, it gives you the value or the count of that specific task. So let me just enable and show you what it stores. It is a dynamic calculated value which we have. So based on total number of points, we have the segregation that it is defined in a child branching or no. So here we have 0 points. So we have a 0 level, then we have 1 point. So it's 1 level, 2 level, and so on. So we can maintain a tree-like structure by having just the specific level. So I'm creating a task. I have this entire form setup. This is the same task form which I have, and I have some predefined values also. So as you can see, this is the outline number, and the outline number comes from the variable that I've assigned to that specific button. If you can see, the outline number is count rows, the same gallery control which I have over here, and the value +1. The value is taking all the values like for that specific node when I'm trying to do it. So the level and +1, you will get the new value. So I want to save the record in that particular fashion. Here is the new task, and I'm always creating a new one. How I've created this entire structure is just a simple gallery control, and I've created just the name and the ID. And on individual click, I've just segregated into that ID specifically. So if it is that particular ID, so it means that I'm clicking on the add task item. If it is the second one, add child task, so I'm doing that particular operation. Similarly, the ID, I'm segregating each and every button function. So moving on to the child function, I'm just updating the same context with the same data. Just over here, I'm just selecting what is the outline number. So outline number is just concatenating the previous parent task and just counting the child nodes of it. How many nodes are there or how many tasks are present in that specific order, and just making it +1. So I've stored this data whenever we select a gallery control. So just a minute on select, yeah. So as you can see, this is a variable defined to store the total number of tasks present in that specific uh, what do you say, task. So if you have any children in that, so whenever you try to create, so it will count the total number of childrens and it will give it the +1 value. So whenever you try to create a child task, it will always have the updated value. So let's go and create a child task. So if I click surface, if you as you can see, I have two child tasks related to it. So if I click this, so I will automatically have 1.1.3 and have these are the values or fields that has been predefined. You don't need to change this. So I'll just even walk you through what is that. So parent task is basically what task I'm selecting over here. And the value is, you can see the gallery selected. And I just made it uh, like this so you can just view it and you cannot make any changes. Outline number is the same. It's just the variable that I have defined outside. And the project is the related project from which it is derived from. So in my case, it is the construction site work planning. The task name, the start end date, and the hours that are required. So if I just fill up the data saying 200 and I just click on submit. So as you can see, I have a new task 1.1.3 with having a 200 hours of estimate. If I want, I can just delete it. So deletion of the particular task depends on what you are deleting. So you can only delete the leaf nodes or the leaf task. You cannot delete any other task which has child records in it. So here you cannot delete the child because it has two childs. So here you can delete this task. You cannot delete this task because it has three childs in it. So the deleting condition depends. So I'll just show you what is the condition for that. Display mode. As you can see, the current child nodes, if it is 0, so it means that it itself is a leaf node or the last task. So you can just directly edit it. So I ha I will have the particular button enabled. But if there is any other child task present in that specific task, then it is disabled. Similarly, I have many other conditions for move up, move down, and move the task. So moving the task also depends the same, that if it is a last task or a leaf node, so you can just move it, else you cannot. So moving on to how to move up and down. So I'll just show you what are the formulas for that. So if you see on select, so there are two operations that will be happening. First is whenever we select a specific task, so it should collect all the task within that specific task. So if I have selected over here utilities, so I have three child tasks. So entire collection should move up and the erect side account should go down. So there will be two collection that I have used over here. So I'll even show you what are the formulas for that. So as you can see, I have used clear collect. So clear collect is a function where we have a data refreshed every time whenever we select an operation. So if we click on the task, it will clear all the values and re-update the values, whatever we have selected. There is similar function called as collect, but it won't refresh or remove the data. It will just append the data within the collection. So as you can see that I have only selected the outline number where I've defined. So whenever I've selected a specific outline number, so only that and its related children should come in the collection. So this is a collection that I've used for moving from up to down, and I've created another collection that will go from down to up. Um, yeah. So just a minute. Here we have two separate items. So one of them is if we have the root nodes. So root node is treated differently. And here is the definition of the root node. So this is because of the outline number in the points. Here we do not have 1.0 that defines your outline number. So the root node does not contains the point value. So that is why I've segregated two of them. And here is the values for the child task. So whenever we have any children, which is not the main root node or the root task, so here is how we segregate it. So we just concatenate the parent task and its related value uh, for what we have selected in the point and just do the -1. So you will just select the collection or the uh, task which is above it. So moving from up to down is similar to this one. So if I click this one and I select move up, so it will just directly go on top, taking all the three child records on the top and moving this particular item down. If I select the same thing and move from down to up, so that the same function will happen, but it is just a what do you say, a play of collection and few minor changes. The collection will be the same, but the operation is still the same, the backend, with a minor of changes. So what I'm doing over here is whenever I click the move up and down button, as you can see, this is move up I've defined as ID3. So here I've collected collections from moving up to down and then patching the record. So I use this particular function if error. So if there is any error while patching the records, so it will directly tell us that something happened, saving the record in the backend. And here I've just patching the collection directly. So I've included patch function. Patch function is used to save the data or whatever you want. And it is a faster way if you save the data in your collection and patch it directly rather than saving it with selecting the ID of it, the particular value. So if I do a for loop and just go with this patching each and every record one by one, so it takes time and it reduces the performance of the app. But if you store it in a collection and then patch it directly onto the server, then the execution is faster. Similarly, this particular thing is for moving down. So if I click a value and I move it down, so the same process will happen over here. It's just that the collection and the values are a little bit different. So over here, just I have this value +1 because I want to move down. So, and on move up, I have -1. That indicates above and below task which I have selected. And for moving the transferring a particular data, so I'll just show you how that even works. So you can only use move tasks for the leaf nodes or the ending nodes. So for example, I use install camera. Say I want to install camera at the initial stage. So I just select this, and if I want to create an independent task, so I just click on independent task and it will just create install cameras separately. If I select this and I say, no, I want to move the particular thing above fence installation. So I just click on security. So it will go within that security thing and then directly you can move up wherever you require. So just you can shift it and the according the WBS ID is automatically changed. The outline number is changed. How that changes is just because I've mentioned a simple formula for that. So moving the task is basically whenever I click it, it opens this particular container. A container is being stored over here and it has a variable pop-up control that has true and false that indicates that I have to select that particular task. So if I want to make an independent task, so I'm just updating the variable, setting it to 0 level and just patching that specific record. So I've used the with condition. With formula is basically storing the data temporary in your execution. So if you want to execute something, but you want to just store that data temporary to be used in specific formula and then don't store in the app. So we use the with formula. With formula is very effective when you are going to patch bulk data. You can use the specific data and just make bulk operations directly. So I'm just patching the record and I'm just using the same collection. So I've used a transfer collection. Transfer collection is basically the same collection that which I have selected and I'm shifting the specific outline number. So as you can see, the parent task I set it to blank just because it is a independent task and the outline number is the same outline number that I have defined in that specific variable that I'm going to store in. And if I store in a separate child records within a main task, so that is defined as just a minute. Yeah, see a variable I've used that gives me the co- total number of child records to the task that I have selected and the outline number which I require for that specific task. And I'm just setting the parent to that specific task that I've selected in this gallery. and I've set the outline number. It has a similar function to add a task, and I just applied the same thing. So you can just directly make any changes. Moving on to the condition section, I'll show you how the condition looks like. So I have labels over here. This is just a minute. Yeah, so move up condition is, I'll show you one by one what are the conditions are. So condition for move up is this one. So what happens is if you are saying that a current outline number is not when you just minus an end is not equal to 0, it means that it is not a root node or not a primary task. So in that specific case, I just use this particular condition. So it means that you cannot just move up directly if there is no task above it. Similarly, I have a move down condition. So in this case, what you need to check, because they can have n number of child tasks. So what I'm doing over here is I'm checking that is there any task for further than that of what I'm selecting. So I'm just doing the same outline number which I have from the previous. So concatenating the same thing over here. So in this case, if I'm doing moving the if I want to move down from 1.3 to 1.4, so what I'm doing is I'm checking that if is 1.4 available. If 1.4 is not available, so you simply cannot move down. Similarly, over here, if there is 1.1 and I'm just doing minus back, so it becomes 1.0. And since 1.0 does not exist, so you cannot just go back. So there is a simple conditions over here that I've kept. And it shows over here that it is invalid, so you cannot just go. This is specifically for move up. Similarly, I have for move down also that shows indicates that it is invalid. As you can see, if I click on utilities, it shows that it's invalid. So this particular thing has been disabled. And counting the parent child. So what is this specific number? I'll just show you what is this meaning. So whenever I select any specific item, so what I'm doing is I'm checking the parent of whatever task it is related and how many children does that specific parent has. So if I click this, so it there shows me just a minute. I'll just hide down. Yeah. So you can clearly see that I have three child records in my parent. So parent is utilities and I have three parents. So yeah, I mean three child records. Similarly, if I click this, so it will go to its specific parent, which is fit out, and it will check that how many child records are there related to fit out. So it's one, two, and three. If I see over here, if I take strip site, so it has only two. It's just because the parent is clear site and the child records is asbestos survey and strip site. So that is how I differentiate the specific records within that specific task. So here is the formula for that. It is very simple. So what I'm doing over here, I'm checking that if the particular thing is a primary or root node or root task by checking the count of the dots or decimal points in the outline number, and I'm filtering the values according to that. So if it is a main task or the root task, so I'm directly filtering by the level count, that is 0. So I've showed you that the level of the main task is always 0 just because it does not have any point values in the WBS ID or outline number. But if you have any point, it means that it is within a specific main task or a child task to some of the other main tasks. So for that, what I've done is I've just filtered out the starting value, the starting outline number. So in this case, If you can see, the starting is 2 point to something. So it starts with this and it will check how many child records it has. So over here, if I click on strip sites, and it will show me that there are 3 child records for this specific task. I- If I'll go and just select fit out, so it will show that the next task is it contains 3 child records. So that is how I understand that how many children it has in a specific task. Um, yeah, so mm, you much have been just a minute. Yeah, so sorry for that. Yeah, so moving on to how I've created the layouts over here. So I'll just show you the layout. So over here, I've just directly mentioned out that if the outline number, the count of the outline number of that specific task, which I've calculated, I have checked over here directly. So based on that, so if it is 0, 1, 2, depending on that, it will just directly make the indentation over here on the X position. And this is automatically created. So just like in our dynamics, we have this particular fashion of having the indentation mark. So we have the same thing over here, and I've just made the like minor visual changes in the font width and everything. So I'll even show you how the font width is actually. So as you can see that if it is a main task or the parent task, it is bold. If it is a first level task, so it is semi bold, and the rest of it is normal font width. There is none. If you even increase, then the font width will remain same. I haven't made any changes over there. This is a simple gallery control. Here is also gallery control that I have used. So I do not just place individual element or buttons. I just directly use a gallery control. It is way simpler to handle many elements into one time instead of having separate elements. Um, Apart from that, let me just show you how the form looks like and what is basically triggering the form. So over here, I have used a control. As you can see, this is a canvas control, a scroll control that you would get whenever you create a new screen as scrollable, and then directly take that scroll container, because we do not have this control readily available. So over here we have this scroll control, and within the scroll control we have the data tables or the data sections. It is called even cards. So I've used that specific card, and each card is having a visual element of the specific argument or the variable that I have passed. So over here, basically what I have done is for add new task and add child task, as you can see, whenever you select this, so you have this reason one. I've just stored the value one and what type of operation it is performing. So it is a new task. Similarly, if you see down what type of task it is performing, I've just named it ID only, basically 1, 2, 3, etc. Which form to show, I've just mentioned directly one, and just it is a variable that makes a pop-up true or false. The outline number is the same of whatever we have selected, and that is all reflected in that specific form over here. So the condition that the form shows is basically the reason over here. in the visible property. So over here I have reason one, so true or false. Similarly, I have the transfer task, which you see it is hidden over here. You cannot just directly see that, but it is residing over here. And the same is for reason two. So if I want to transfer the task, so I have the same thing, clicking on move task. So it is the same layout, but it is currently showing me this particular card, and this card has been hidden. If you can see, you cannot see the card over here, but it is on the top. It is hidden. So it is a good way of maintaining different type of elements into one single page or one single control. So you don't need to create multiple elements and making your app go more heavier. It is a good approach that you use or reuse the elements in your particular app. Um, so for this particular mm, uh, gallery control, what I have done is whenever you select a specific task, that task is not displayed over here. Apart from that, everything is displayed. So for that, what I have done is I've just filtered the specific record container. Just a minute, items property. Yeah, as you can see, the specific task ID. So task plan is basically the primary ID of that. It contains the geo ID and it is always unique. So is not equal to all the records in that specific gallery. So I've mentioned the task plans as the main gallery, and this is the transfer task gallery. So apart from that, everything has been showed up over here. And whenever you select that, so whenever you select that, I've mentioned that I'm updating the color child nodes in that specific task, and then I'm just applying it. The outline number is just for the parent or whatever you are selecting over there, and I'm just patching the record. Apart from that, everything is just your creativity of how you want to show all the records of how the colors are basically showed. What each and everything, as you can see on my left hand side, is just within a container. I use container just because you can make it responsive, can just directly add. So you, if you go to your app and you want to embed it into dynamics, or you want whenever you're playing this app, like over here, just select play. Currently I've just set the width and height to default, but if you want to stretch the app and you want to take it further on your dynamics, embedding into dynamics or just anywhere else, so you need that flexibility. So I use container controls to maintain that flexibility and make the formula changes. So container is basically consider that as a box and you're storing all the elements. So you don't need to move individual element. You can just take up that box and just move it around. So that is how you can just modify one single element, and all the elements within that container will be moved or having taking the place of its parent on its own. So that is a better way of having responsive layouts in your app. There are some pretty much, what do you say, visual controls I have over here. So that one depends on the gallery. If you can see, I have transition as push. If I select this particular element, you can see that if I select, so it just store over there that that particular section has been highlighted. So how I've created that, we have a property called as template fill. If this particular item is selected, then I'm just coloring that specific section. So that specific thing has been highlighted. Similarly, I have another thing called as hovering color. So when I play this app, you can see that this particular has color on that individual element. So how I've created that is just that we don't have a property called as hover control in the gallery itself. So what I have done is I have just put a label control over here, and for this specific label, I have a hover fill property. So I just made that particular color, fading color. So it will show us that specific color whenever I hover my cursor over it. And the main gallery control has the transition as pop. So you have that good looking feature of i- like how a person is interacting with the system. So it gives a good UI UX to a specific person who is going to use the elements. Apart from that, yeah, this is pretty much it. Are there any questions?
I We don't have any questions in the chat window, Ethan. But guys, if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and you can ask your questions to Ethan.
Yep, I don't think so that there are any questions related to this.
Yeah, Ethan, one question. So, how much data it can handle, and what exactly you did for performance improvements?
Okay, so one thing is that your Canvas application can store up to 2000 records or take. If you can see over here, we have data row limit. Currently it is 500 by default, but you can go up to 2000 records. And if you have uh, data about 2000, so you can use pagination. There are a couple of videos on YouTube that shows a good example of pagination. So you that is basically you are filtering your data. Like if you have 5000 or 10,000 records, so you are just selecting a specific batch of the records and putting it in your application. And whenever you are just moving on to, what do you say, your pages in your dynamics or everything, so you have a similar control in the Canvas applications also, that you can use to paginate the records. So that is how you can avoid the delegation in your Power Apps, and you can make your app very fast and very responsive to whatever you are going to perform in your application.
Okay, nice.
Any other questions?
And is it available somewhere to refer?
Yes, it is available. So there is a YouTube video from
No, no, no. I'm
Mr.
saying just
Durrani.
preview whatever you have built.
This is what I have built right now.
Yeah.
Currently, I don't have this available, but I'm going to post a blog related to this very soon. So you can just follow me on LinkedIn and you can have the blog over there.
Okay.
Ethan, answer here. One question. So you used one gallery or you used cascaded gallery here to show all the details one inside the other?
I have used only one gallery control over here,
Mhm.
and just to have a cascading layout, I've mentioned that I've used the I count over here of the points, and based on that how many points I have, it means that it is a intended task. So I've just directly intend that specific value. So whenever we have any task, so it is dynamic. The position of that specific element will shift dynamically based on how many points we have. And seeing about the cascading galleries or galleries within a gallery, so we cannot have multiple galleries in, I guess you can go up to two or three max to max, but if you put many galleries, then you will have problem in traversing a specific gallery control. I guess the max limit is three of where you can get the records properly if you make the calculation proper, but apart from that, the app will not work as you expect. Any questions regarding any formulas that I
Guys,
have mentioned over here?
Could you explain the width formula once again?
Yeah, so the width formula for this specific task, for the specific label, I just directly mentioned this particular effort x value minus the self of x. So I've mentioned that I'm just shifting the position based on the specific count. So if the x position increases, so I'm just taking this x position and I'm just cutting out its self x position over here. So that is how you get your width. And most of my customizations over here, if you see, it always refers to the parent width, no matter what. So if I'm going to make this application responsive, and just stretching out. So it will always maintain the parent container.
I'm sorry, I meant the width one, WITH, that you use somewhere in the formula.
Okay, yeah. So the width is basically um, storing a specific context and then going to use that. So it is just like a scope operator. So within a scope, if whatever formulas or records you want to store and then going to use it somewhere, so you can use the with operation. It is very useful if you have bulk update. So you can, as you know, you cannot patch your data source with the same for loop. So if you're looping a specific source and then patching the same source, that is not available. It will give you an error. But if you use with property, so with property, you can store that specific data into some collection or a variable, and then you are going to use that specific variable or temporary data and patching it to your main data source or something like that. You can have multiple items processed at once if you use your with operation. But if you use your for operation, there might be some issues if you have a larger amount of data. So yeah, that is pretty much it. You have with for just storing temporary data, it won't take up your space. So whenever the use of that specific data is completed, it will just flush out the entire data and just you will be able to use any other thing for furthermore.
So, do the actions under width happen simultaneously or one after the other?
Depending on your formula. So if you have a for loop and you are having with condition or with formula within that, so what it will do is for each element in your for loop, it will just start your with operation. So if you have 5 elements in your particular collection and you're traversing with a for loop, so each record will have its own with property. So the first record will be executed and it's related with operation. So temporary data for that specific record is being stored and the operation that will be performed after that will be executed. Once that is completed, the for loop will jump to the second element and then its specific with operation will start. So the specific maintaining the data point is maintained, the data flow. And if you use directly your for loop, if there is any issue while patching the records or something, it might skip or it might confuse your particular collection or data source. So it's better if you use your with property. With functionality is very effective if you ask.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Guys, if you have any other questions, then please feel free to unmute yourself and ask your questions, or else I will request Ethan to share the social media handle in the chat window so that you people can connect with him. And if you have any questions or any issues, you can connect with him personally on the social media handle.
Yep. I will be sharing those in a moment. Also, thank you for Power Platform classmate
Sure.
organizers for organizing this event. And also thank you for Viz Labs for this session.
Thank you so much, Ethan, for accepting our invitation and presenting in Power Platform Classmates Event 2022. And you have clearly explained us like how you can create the similar WBS in the Power Apps in the Canvas app, and like that is going to be really helpful for the people, because there would be lots and lots of challenges with the out of box feature which is there in the WBS. For all those things, this gives the flexibility, and also this either you can use it from the Canvas app, or you can embed this inside the model driven app, and also this can be used with any other entity. So all those features are amazing. Thanks once again for explaining us. And next we do have the Sumaira, and we'll wait for her. Still, we have 4 more minutes for the next session. And once she is there, then we'll start the Sumaira session. And in the meanwhile, Sumaira is already in. Okay. Next, we do have the session from Sumaira. Hi, Sumaira. We would like to extend our warm welcome on behalf of Power Platform classmates, the organizer community, and we welcome you. And today she is going to present well formatted the email using the HTML CSS using the Power Automate, and the stage is all yours, Sumera. And Sumera is an Dynamics 365 CE and the Power Platform consultant, and she do have around 5 to 6 years of experience on the Dynamics background. And today she is going to present this topic to us. Yeah, over to you, Sumera.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Power Platform Classmates 2022 meetup. And special thanks to all the organizers for organizing this event. My name is Sumaira Noor, and I'm a Microsoft certified professional. I work as an engineer on various Power Platform products and on SharePoint at RLE India. I have been working on various Power Platform products since from quite long, and if yeah, so let me just start sharing my screen. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find my LinkedIn handle on the screen, and this is my blog link. So you can find my blog on at sumairanur.com, where I'll be updating mostly about the Power Platform stuff there. So today we will be looking into how to send an email which will be formatted well using HTML and CSS through Power Automate. And to keep it short, like this will be the end result. Like we'll be have a logo at the end of this session. We will be coming up with this particular interface. We'll be having a logo. We can have the company name here, and when we click on that, it will be navigated to a different link. We can navigate it to any website, and we will have these four divisions here: a table, and a last note will be there here. So coming to SharePoint, I have two lists here. One is invoice and another is product. So what I am trying to do is, for each invoice I have list of products. So I have some data here, and when I so let me just show this. This the first section, it belongs to this particular list. So the data is coming from that list there, and the products are displayed in within the table. So I have a simple flow outline here. So where I have the email ID stored here, I'm just triggering this as a manual flow, and I'm getting the ID here from the invoice list, and I have list of products here coming here under get items here. And I'll start with the table part first, where I can create HTML table. So we have an action called create HTML table, where I'll take the inputs from the get items, because we are going to create the table for list of products, and I'll take the list of items from here, and for now I'll keep it as automatic just to see the result, and I'll send it in email. I have my email address stored in this compose action. So for now, just to see how this HTML table looks without applying any CSS to it, I'll just add the output from this particular action, and I'll manually run it. So when I get the email now, I have all these things like which are not even required. Like most of the columns are not even required here. So what I will do is, if you see this, it is not formatted properly. So I'll go and take only three columns here: the category, product name, and description. So to do that, instead of this being automatic, I'll make it as custom, and I'll start giving the name. I'll get one product category from here. From get items, product name, and the description. And now if I run this, if you see now, we have these three columns here, the product category name and the description, which we just added there. And we will be formatting this. So to do that, first I'll take the outline of HTML. I'll split this in split the entire thing into different compose actions, because so that it should not be confused at the end. So for now I'll split things into different compose actions. Let me just show how I'm planning to do it. So this is going to be my uh, final uh, action from where I'll be taking the inputs to the email instead of this. So here I have the simple HTML outline. Between this style tag, I'll keep adding the CSS, and after this we will add the HTML body. So I'll move this HTML table action upside. So first thing what we will do is we will give the border and padding to the table, to this particular table. So to do that, I'll take this compose as CSS for table, and I'll start adding for table data. table header, like for every table will have the data part and the header part. So we are applying the CSS for that. So first we will give border, which will be 1px solid black or some color. And then we will also specify the padding so that it appears uh, the padding appears cleaner. So once I have done this particular part, and I'll apply that particular CSS between the style tag and the HTML body, I'll be applying here, and I'll take this final result now instead of taking directly the HTML table. So looks like something is missing there. I'll try to format this and add the code because it is in single line. So I'll just search for HTML formatter online, and I'll alright, so let me try to do that here. Sorry, I had not included the final result. Okay, so I'll include the final result and I'll save this. So if you see here, we have this table now, but we have these uh, space between each column of the table. So to overcome that, we will be using the border collapse property of the table. So for the entire table, we will apply a border collapse property. And so this is the property, and we will set it as collapse. And then we will also set the table width here, and let the table width be 100% so that it appears in the entire, it will appear in the entire area uh, if we to avoid any kind of issues. So anyhow, we have this CSS for table added here, and we will be running this now. If you see here, the gap between these columns and rows has disappeared now, and it appears as a collapsed table. So the next step is to add change the size of the fonts, change the font size of the row or header. So first thing, we will change the font size for the table row, and the font we will set some this is the font size property for table, and we will set it to some 0.66 em. If you see, the size has reduced compared to the previous email. And coming to the header part, we will add some background color to the header now, and to this particular header, and we will also set its font size and color. So we have the table header, and we will open and close bracket. We have the background color property. I'll take it as blue, and I'll change its font size to, I'll increase its font size. Table row has added font size for all, both the table header as well as the row. So I'll just change the font size to uh, somewhere around 2 em, and we can also make this bit bold. So anyhow, it is header, it will appear bold, but we will also add some font weight to it, and we will make it as bold. If you see this, the header size has increased, and the header has got a blue color, and we will also add a background color to this entire body of HTML. So to do that, I'll extend this code only. So for background color, I'm applying this to entire HTML body, and I'll take the background color as some grayish color. If you see this now, we have the background color for this entire table, which is considering it as the, as we keep adding the controls now, it will as we keep adding the controls now, it will take the background color automatically for this particular thing. And coming to the other part, that is probably the logo. We will start adding details, adding the properties for logo now. So to do that, I'm taking another compose, This will be the style part, the CSS part for header, which includes logo as well as the company name. And this is going to be the content. So I'll move this up again. And for header, what we have is we have one image which I'm referring directly to some logo which is present online, and this is the hard-coded company name which I'm taking with a link. So for that, I'll first I'll not keep any CSS here. So I'll start adding the tags for this. We will take two two different tags. One is image as well as aref tag. So let me show here. This tag will hold the entire section, like the one entire column, which is within which the logo and the company is placed. So this is the main tag for that. Again, we will be splitting it into two. Like we will have one more div tag for logo and another div tag for this company name. So this div tag is for logo, which will have the opening and closing part, and another div tag is for company name, and there will be another div tag for this particular space given here between the logo and the company. We will start applying CSS to it. So first thing is I'll just add the image which is present here. So this image is referring to some internet image present in the internet. So first we will give the source, the link for the image. I can also have this hosted within my SharePoint, and I'm giving some alternate name if the image is not displayed, and the height and the width for the image I'm specifying here. And apart from that, I'm also adding a reference link. This is the empty space which will be leaving as it is. In the third part, I'm adding some reference link to external URL. So you can add the company name here. Now when I test this, first thing is I'll add this content within the final result. I'll add it above the table because the first part which comes up is the header part. So this is the header part and this is the table part. So when I receive mail now, I will have this in uh, below the logo, like the company name is below the logo. But I can click on this, it will open the Microsoft Docs, which is some test link I have provided. And yeah, so yeah, we have this opening the link in the news site there. We have the logo here, and we will see how we can bring it to a proper format. So the very first thing I'll do is I'll apply some CSS for image, and I'll take some I'll give this image this div tag some class name. I'll give some call img class and I'll start adding properties to that class here. And the properties which I'll be adding is the image should always float towards left when it is within this particular column. This is mainly like three different columns division here, 1, 2 and 3, and we are placing those columns in specific order. So I'll add the float property which will always place image towards left, and I'll add padding, height and width. I'll give width as some 30%. As we keep adding the other properties, we will for this particular header we will get to know why we are taking this as 30%. And then I'll give some padding as 16 px, and height as 100 px. So I'll add this particular style under this style area first. I can place it anywhere anyhow, because it is just css. So I'll add the css header here, and we have the table. And when I run this, there will be no much difference according to me, because we have not applied for other tags, the company name still. If you see here, the height has increased compared to the previous mail, and we have the company name somewhere placed here. So now we will add another property for another class for company name, and to the space which is present within between the company and the logo. And we will take the same we will copy this same stuff here, but we will change the class name. Instead of image, I'll give it as company name, and float will be left only, and this will be somewhere around 35, and padding will be somewhere around 2 px. It will be same. So what we will do at this point is we will apply this call company class to both the remaining tags which we have now. So that is this tag and this tag, the reference tag. So if I do this, this image should sorry, this particular content should come in towards the right side, because it will be divided into three now. So this particular thing, let me just try it again. So we have the call company class here, and it has 35% width, and we can give some break here. Plus I can make this as h2. So we are getting here in the middle. Let me just check again. We have the opening class for image, opening tag for this, and this one has h2 tag. Let me reduce this name of the just remove this part and check. Okay, so we have the company name next to the logo, and that extra section is causing problem.
Sumera, one suggestion. So instead of trying out the mail every time, why don't we open W3 schools and try it over there? The output shows over on the right every time you run
Yeah,
it.
yeah. All right, yeah. I was planning to, yeah, but since I was doing it from Power Automate, so yeah, that is okay. I'll do this one. So yeah, we will be adding this entire thing here, and we will add the style property, properties for the style, and we will skip the table part, but we will take this particular uh, logo and company name part. Plus, we will also take the style properties which we had placed in the compose, and yeah, so we can give some padding for this one. So we will have the company name, we will leave the company name as it is here because it is We will keep the company name in center for now, and we can start adding the different sections for this invoice number, period, and invoice to part. It is almost similar, but we will have only one style property this time. So we will have four tags here, four div tags here. We had two, one for this logo and another for company, but we will take four tags now. So let me just remove this image part and this. So we will have one column property here, sorry, column class here. The first thing is, let me divide this into four. So I'll have one header, where I'll give invoice number, and I'll have its content. We have this particular part, and for column, for splitting it, we will be using the same similar property, but we will have a different class for this. So we will take the class as call, and we will start adding same thing here. If you see, we are getting it side by side, but uh, we need four sections, so I'll make it as 25% instead, so that it gets divided into four. So I'll copy paste this same thing. Now we have four different sections here, but the height needs to be increased a bit, and the padding can be reduced here at this point. So we have invoice number, invoice period, and we have invoice to and total. So for some reason it is not again splitting it into four different columns. Okay, so when I made it as 20%, it is splitting it into four columns. So yeah, we will take this particular CSS and we will try to add it in the new compose, where we will have only the CSS part for the sections there. We have CSS for this, and we will take the entire body for this particular this particular part 2, and we will add that in another compose. So now we will place the CSS here, and also the uh, HTML part here within the head after the head closing tag. Plus, I wanted to reduce the size of um, this particular text, so I'll add another property. I'll take another class, and I'll just change its font size. So I'll take this class and add it for this particular paragraph. And the font size has changed now. I'll just copy this same thing, and I'll also take the style taken considered there. So, and here coming to this, I'll add invoice number here instead of test. So I'll place the invoice number, and here I'll place the invoice period, which is coming from the first list. And here I'll take the invoice address. Then here I'll take the total cost. And now when I run this, we will have the dynamic data, which we are getting from the invoice list. And we can also change the header, the subject here. So invoice for the period. Now when I run this flow, so we have these things added here, and we will go ahead and correct some uh, HTML and CSS part now. So I'll just try to merge the entire thing. So I'll take the CSS for the logo and company name part, and I'll also take the header there. So what I will do here is I'll try to change the uh, width for this particular uh, company name, and that is how it went towards the right side now. And to take it a little bit more right, so I have added this particular BR and BR tag within this call company class. So if I remove that, I'll have this in this way. So I have placed it uh, in this particular area. And now we have this second part where we have invoice number and all. So this has the class as call, and I'll make it as somewhere around 15% instead, just to see if it is. Okay, so looks like we have to place this within the div tag. So I'll so we have got the image and the logo part now. So we will just go and update this within the header CSS. So we have the logo and company name it in its place now. And coming to this invoice number, so I just the style part of this invoice part. It is appearing correct here, but in no, it is doing some problem. Okay, so one more thing which we can do is we can add some break tags after the logo part. So let me just go and get the logo code. So I have this logo code here, and I'll have the CSS for that. And I'll apply a break tag after this to see if it. So we have a div open tag, close tag, and so the paragraph part. And okay, so one more thing which we have to add is the border box property. Sorry, the box sizing property. So what we can do
जाके
is
देखो उधर घड़ी में नहीं देंगे तो हमारे पढ़ाई की नहीं आज
Guys, can you mute yourself, whoever is not speaking?
so yeah, so we have to add the border box part. Yeah. So this was the problem, like because the border box part was missing, it was not giving the uh, it was not coming up in the proper format. So we will go and add this particular border box anywhere in within our CSS. So and if we test now, yeah, so it is in the format. The main problem was the border box was missing, and yeah, as we can see, we have the logo here, which we splitted this with three different div tags and applied CSS for that. And for this particular thing, we did the same thing, but we took four different div tags and we took 20% of the width for this. And this table is of 100% width, and we have added. The background color for the entire tape HTML body, and we do have one last sentence left here which we have to add, um which is the invoice due date part. So it is just a simple one. Like we could have just taken this entire HTML in one file, but just to avoid confusion, I splitted it. And we have the last message there. So and that one is by, and we can give the invoice due date there. And we can also apply some CSS to this. So we can apply the inline CSS only to this. So for this we can give some color as green, and then we can uh, add it directly to this particular final result. Because we want to display it in the last, I'll keep it in the last. And if required, we can also format the date. So we have this particular um, sentence there now, and looks like it's not taking green color. Okay, we have to add the colon there. And yeah, we can also format this date. I'll just copy this and take the format datetime expression, paste the put, and I'll give the format directly. And I'll give it in DDMM format instead. Yeah, so we have it in this format, but still we didn't see any color. We will try some different color here. All right. So, okay. So this is equals, not the colon, and that's the reason it is not coming there. Yeah. So we got this one here, and yeah, this is the entire uh, thing, the result which I wanted to show using HTML and CSS with Power Automate. Yeah, and so in a day or two, this entire code will be published on this particular blog. So yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Anyone having any questions can unmute and ask. I think there is no question, Sumera. So thanks
Okay,
for this wonderful session.
great. Yeah, thanks for providing the opportunity to present this particular use case here.
Yeah. Dharni, over to you. You can go ahead with that
Yeah,
quiz thing.
thank you so much, Shashi, for pitching in. So I will quickly share the screen. So next we have the wonderful quiz session.
So guys, this is a quiz session where there will be questions popping up on the screen and you have to answer them. So you need to go to your open your mobile and just type in kahoot.it. So I'm just
Just
pasting.
yeah, go to your browser and just type kahoot.it. I will just put it in the chat window.
Or feel free, sorry, Jiva here, or feel free to scan the QR code and to basically take you the same thing and then enter this game pin number. Please key in your full name so that it will be easy for us to identify the winners. Your full name, first name, and last name. Perfect. So we have one.
We have our first. Great.
Right.
We are seeing Ansi, Siddesh, Rajiv. Come on, guys. We have good number of participants. Please do participate and take your goodies.
Yeah. Ramesh and Ethan, I really appreciate if you can key in the full name. We'll be waiting now for a while before we start the session.
Come on, guys, join in. We have
We have 10 so far, and at least we should have 25.
yeah,
Also, guys,
exactly.
one more thing, like if you are joining the quiz and make sure like you are joining the one more quiz, which is going to happen at the end of the day. Okay. So cumulative scores, with the cumulative scores, we'll be picking the top five and we'll be giving away the goodies and subscriptions.
Yep.
So make sure like you are joining the evening quiz also.
So, Ramesh, what is the full name? Do you mind exiting and entering with your full name?
Guys, come on, go for it. Because I'm seeing only like 13 to 14 people in the screen. We do have 29 participants in the meeting. Come on.
Yeah, who wouldn't like goodies?
Okay, with the interest of time, I'm just getting into the quiz.
Just a moment, Dharani. Let's wait. Let's wait.
Let's
Okay,
give another 1 minute and then we can start.
sure, Shashi.
I'm hoping at least it will be 20 plus.
So we
Let
have
me wait.
15 members now.
I'm so tempted to do it by myself, but I can't, of course.
Yeah, Jiva, you cannot get any subscriptions or goodies from us.
Yeah, it's great. 1 year was lab subscription. Come on, guys, it's not a joke. And then, of course, we'll be sending nice, cool goodies. I'm not sure last year's participants would know. We
Yep.
have 16.
So
Just we will wait 30 more seconds. Twenty more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
So
4,
here when I try to add
3.
some
Wait, Rani, someone is
okay, yeah.
talking.
The content type I have this custom page. So you can try this option to add
Or
your own
something else.
content.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
Because
thanks.
the
Sorry, Dani.
input
Yeah, go
option
ahead.
you select, it will only
Please
be
start the
seen
quiz.
from your table.
I think
uh,
someone is listening to the session from the
Yeah,
track
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. Perfect. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Sorry, your voice was breaking.
It's from the table itself.
So,
So from the table itself,
guys, if you're not speaking, can you please go on mute? Nish, yeah. So here is the questions. You can see here the company needs and way to automatically convert an email from its support Outlook to OneDrive. So which tool? So here are the options. Quickly go ahead and select the options.
so you
So it will
in
give
your
you.
screen you will have only the blocks. So select the correct block.
I can see the 10 people has given the correct answer as a Power Automate. So next we'll get into the next question. So here is the scoreboard. Now the Rajiv is in the top and then following by Rajiv, Ansi, Amit, Ramesh and Shub. Next question. Any employee can share data insights through the visualizations to management. Which tool? And here are the answers. I can see like 16 answers now.
Guys, don't forget whoever answers at the earliest will get the most points.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
it's like a fastest finger first.
Yeah. Yeah.
16 people. Wow, everyone got the answer correct.
So let's see the scoreboard.
There is no much change in
So,
the scoreboard. Still,
so
Rajiv remains the
Rajiv
same.
is still leading.
There's a tough competition, guys. This
Which
scores
are
are
one of
almost.
which of the following is not true of Power Virtual Agents? And here is the answer. Eight people answered so far. 10, 11, till 8 more seconds.
Two more answers. Two more answers.
Six people has marked the right answer. The
I think we
chatbot
can
must,
see some difference in the score now.
yeah, chatbot must use a flow in the Power Virtual Agents. Now let's get into the scoreboard.
Yeah, I
So
was expecting.
Ansi is coming in the top.
Nancy and
Followed
Shub
by
are
Shubh.
almost each other. I mean, it's just few hundreds of points difference. Great. Let's go to the third question. Fourth question, sorry.
Fourth one. This is a
Oh, it's
multi-select one.
multi-select.
Yeah, the data connectors connect to which two types of data? You can choose two, and here are the choices.
Guys, two answers. Two right answers will get the most points, and one
So
wrong
after
and
this,
one
we
right.
have two more rounds in this particular session. So you guys have chance to come up again.
Yeah,
Yes, yes. This is first set of test for this track. So it's going to be cumulative of all the sets. Oh, there's a new winner and the new topper. So we have Siddesh Bogati in the first place.
Siddesh and Afrin Sultan and the coming in the top board.
Yeah. And
We are into the last question of the
question.
module one. Still, we have two more modules as part of the first session. So
So
which
which
is
is not a
not a
way to build a custom connector.
next. Here is
Let's
the
see the podium.
podium. Third place goes
Okay.
to Vipin.
Number 2, Afreen
Prince
Sorry,
Sultan.
Sultan.
Sultana.
Number 1,
Who is the number one?
Okay.
Desh Bhagate. Perfect, perfect. Nice, nice.
Again, let me quickly take a.
Bina and Ansi. Bina and fourth place, and Ansi in the fifth place. This is just model 1,
Uh,
guys.
Dharni and Jiva, you can go ahead with the second round. I am just noting it down.
Sure. Okay.
Perfect. So fourth one was, yeah. So you, okay, right.
Sorry, yes, I will get into the next module. One second, guys. Please bear with me. Yeah. Now it will pop up the game
Another
pin,
pin.
another pin. As we did it the first time, just go to the kahoot.it, then it will ask you for a game pin. You just feed in the pin which is displaying in the screen, or else you can go ahead and scan the QR code which is listed in the, which is shown in the screen, and then you can get in. Yeah, I can see start people getting inside the board. So Shashi, you have marked the score in the sheet, right? So do I need
Yeah,
to mark it or all good?
yeah, I have marked it.
Okay, good. Come on, guys. I can see 13. 15. We'll wait for 10 seconds and then we'll start. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's start. So we'll get into the Microsoft Dataverse part now. Quiz starts. Which phrase explains the connection between the Microsoft Dataverse and the common data model? You can see 2 answers, 6 answers, 7, 8. Yeah, 4 people has given the right answer. Microsoft Dataverse meets the common data model guidelines. So, and she's in the top. Now the next question is Microsoft Dataverse composed of us, and select the correct option. Here we do have like fill in the blanks. So you need to choose the right answer for the fill in the blanks. 14 people has answered. 2 more. Yeah, 14 people has given the right answer, the tables and columns. Still, Ansi is in the first place. Let's get into the third question. What are the 2 possible ways tables can be related? Wow, 16 people, everyone has answered it correctly. Still Nancy's in the top, and second is Amit, and third is Vipin. Let's see. Let's last the final. We do have the final question. Come on, guys. Which section of the Power Apps Admin Center allows you to monitor license and quotas? Wooden people has answered. Yeah, 9 people has answered. Correct answer for this question. Tenant. Next, here is the podium. Afrin Sultana. Third. Next, Vipin. And first we have Ansi. Shashi?
Yeah, I have taken it.
Okay. All good. Now let's get into the final module of the first session. Yeah, so it will display the pin here, guys, like last time, putakaku.it, and feed in the pin which is displaying in the screen and get into the board. Yeah, I can see Samshir, Heathan, Amish, Sanjay, Sairam. Yeah, I can see 14 people. Just wait for a few more seconds. $15. Okay, let's start now. So the module 3 is introduction to Power Apps. So in this module, similarly like last two, we do have a couple of questions here. We have 5 questions. How much coding is needed with the Power Apps? And here are the choices. Yeah, 10 people have selected the correct answer. Little to no amount of coding. And here is the scoreboard. So the Rajiv is in the top. Next question. When creating a model-driven app, which of the following does not need to be defined? And here are the choices. I can see 10 people has answered. 12 people has answered correct. Now let's see the scoreboard. Rajiv and Ethan is coming into the top. Let's see, still we have more. We have 3 more questions. Which of the following AI models would be most helpful in identifying and pulling information from images of invoices? And here are the choices. 13 answers. 3 people has answered correctly. Form processor. Now let's see the scoreboard. Wow, Ansi is coming to top again, and Sanjay is coming. Fourth question: when would be a canvas app be the best option? And here are the choices. Fourteen people have answered. 6 people has answered correctly for this question. When would you like to build your app from the scratch?
Seems it's a very tricky question.
Yeah. And here is our scoreboard. Sanjay comes to the first, and Ansi has been moved to the second place, and third is Ethan. Now let's see the final one. How do Power App Portal differ from Canvas apps? Yeah, 9 people have answered correctly. Portal allows for the creations of websites. Now here is the podium for our third module. Third is Sub Majmudar. Second one is Ansi Matthew. First Sanjay BV. Okay, we have made a note of all the scores, and we do have one more quiz session which is going to be happen at the end of the day. So after that we'll be publishing the results for the quiz. Please stay tuned, guys. Next we do have sessions.
So we have another 1 minute. So for that session.
Yes, next we have Vidit Golam from CloudFront. So he's going to present on Power Apps Portal local login access authentication. And he's a Dynamics 365 and Power Platform consultant. He is from the CloudFronts, and he's going to present us. Thanks, Vidit, once again for accepting our invitation and presenting in Power Platform Classmate Events 2022.
Yeah,
Thank
Ramani,
you,
sorry.
Zanmi. Yep.
To- Sorry, Vidya. Ramani, can we have this quick 5 minutes break so the and just get some water, coffee, and then we'll be back.
Uh,
Yeah,
sure,
Yeah,
Jiva, that works.
perfect.
that
Yeah,
works.
sorry about
So
that, Vidit. Let's wait for five
Now,
minutes if there's something.
yeah,
Yeah,
once
that's
again,
that's fine. No issues.
now time is like 12:14. Will 12:15. We'll connect back again sharply at 12:20, and then we'll start. Okay.
yep.
Perfect. Right.
Yeah. I think better go with 5 minutes break because people also need some free time.
Okay, next we do have 1 minute. Hey, welcome back everyone. Let's get into the session now. Now it's 12:20 and we are in the track 2 of the Power Platform Classmates event 2022. Now, as I mentioned, like next we do have the Vidit and he'll be presenting on Power Apps Portal local login access automation. And over to you, Vidit.
Yes, Dharni. So, just give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me know once you guys can see my screen and if I'm audible.
Yeah, we are able to see your screen and you are audible with it. All good?
Yes. So hello classmates. I am Vidit Gholam. Good afternoon to everyone from Mumbai. I'm a software engineer and an associate consultant with CloudFronts, and I'll be sharing my LinkedIn. I'm a Power Platform enthusiast, and you can always find me on the Power User community. So today's session is all about Power Apps portal authentications. And I've been developing Power Apps portal since about a few months. So I've observed that many of the users over here in India are using our own local authentication. So there are basically two types of authentications in Power Apps, one being local and another being external. So to talk about local meaning, its core meaning, that is the credentials are stored in um, our CDS, that is our dataverse. So we'll be in this session, we'll be seeing on how we can automate that process, how we can provide the user ID and the access and the password to the users via an automated process just with few clicks. So the attendees and the participants, our classmates, will be able to do work and explore with Power Apps portal logins, table permissions, Power Automate functionality with our Power App portals, and entity and list designing on Power Apps portal. So this would be our agenda pretty much for today. Our introduction to the use case authentications, which I just spoke about, workflow actions available for Power Apps portals, generating user ID and default password by Power App portals, sending notifications to the portal contacts of these generated user IDs and passwords, Power App portal entity lists and table designs, and a more on web roles and assigning them automatically. So let's just begin with our use case first. Um, uh, I have divided this use case in two parts. So part one would be automatically generating a username and password for portal contacts. So just a slight idea about the local login. The local login provides the portal users to log into the portal using a user ID and a password, and that user ID is generated and stored within our CDS environment in CRM. So the second part would be automatically assigning web roles to portal contacts based on the roles of that contacts. So let's just begin with our part one. Um, so let's see how the process flow goes. Uh, the process begins overall in CRM. So let's just assume that you have an existing set of contacts in your CRM systems, and you have designed a portal, and now you need to give them access to that portal. So what we will do here in this session, or for this use cases, we'll be having a toggle, a yes no toggle on the contact in our CRM, and based on that toggle, when it is toggled to yes, we will set the user ID for that user, the password for that user, and we'll email the user ID and password to that contact. Similarly, if we need to remove access from that user, we'll just toggle that toggle to no, and it will then just disable the login of that user and send the user notifications. So let's just begin with the CRM form first. Yeah. So that's how our CRM form looks like for contacts. This is just a Dataverse environment. So I'm just using a very basic app which is provided by Microsoft by default. This can be any contact from this is the same contact entity which resides in our Dataverse. So I've just added a few custom fields and a section called portal access over here, and after the user fills in all the details of the contact, all they need to do is just provide portal access, toggle to yes. What this will do is this will just run a workflow in background. An interesting fact about portals is that um, Microsoft provides a few workflow actions to set passwords, usernames for the portal users. So we'll be see in this session we'll be seeing how to build those, how we can use those. So let's just switch on to the dynamics and see how this works. So this is my dynamics environment over here. I'll just switch on to my app. Um, so um, as I saw in the PPT, as you saw in the PPT, this is the contact entity which I was showing. So let's just begin with creating a new contact. Let's name it with it column. I'll give it my and let's just save it. So once this contact has been saved in CRM, all you need to do is to assign a role to that contact. So I'll just give this a user role and set the toggle to yes. So as soon as this toggle is toggled to yes, it will send me an email which I'll receive in my Outlook. Yeah. So the email would look similar to this one. It will just say that you have been granted access to the customer portal. Please find the user ID and password. So before I created my contact, just now I have a demo contact in the system already. So that's how I received this email for this contact. So um, what what this does in the background is it just runs a workflow. So I'll just go to our solution. So in the processes, I have just created a workflow which says set portal access. So if you just open this. I'll just deactivate this workflow. So this workflow runs on when a field is changed, and that field is our field which we saw in the contacts. That would be, yeah, provide portal access. So what this workflow does is this will check if the provide portal access is set to yes. If it is set to yes, it will check if the contact had access before. Now, how that is defined, I'll speak about it later on in this session. If all these conditions set up, we have an action which is by default action which is given by the ADX portal, that is Microsoft. So um, using this action, we can just set a default password for this portal. Um, so I've set a default password saying pp classmates hash 11. We also need to set the security timestamp. We don't need to pass any data in this timestamp. It will automatically generate a security timestamp whenever the user logs in. So once the password has been set, I'll just show you the actions as well. So if you just um, click here, add a new step. If you just hover, you can just see ADX studio.xrm workflows. In this, you have both these actions available. So these actions are, I've used these actions for changing the password and setting the security timestamp. So once this is done, what this does is it will just set uh, a password for that contact and the username for that contact. So how you see that is whenever you create a portal in any environment, you have the portal app as well as you get a portal management app. So to manage all the things related to the portal and the contacts related to the portal, you need to go into this app. So I'll just click on this app. Under the security section, there is a contact section over here. If you hover, yeah, and this was the contact which I created. If you go to the portal contact form under web authentications, you can see the username has been set. I have set the email confirmation and the login. Currently, the login is disabled because if we go on this contact over here, the access has been removed. If I toggle this to, if we see for the contact which we just created, that would be Vidit column. Yeah, for the contact which we just created, the toggle, the login has been enabled. So all we need to do is just uh, all the portal contacts need to do is just open this email, just click on the portal link. They'll be redirected to a login page which would have the username, which would have which would ask them to enter the username and the password. So since we created a login for my contact, I'll just add my user ID and the default password which we have entered for the portal. That is, and it lets me in. So since we are setting a default password, the users also have the privilege to change their password. So they can log into the portal, they can fill in their details and they can just hit change the password and the password will automatically get changed. So um, Now, let's go back to our contact in CRM. Um, Once the user has been given access to the portal, we need some visualization to see what's going on with the user. Uh, what is the status of his access? Uh, so it is not possible always for us to remember what access or who has access in who has access current which contact has access currently in the system. So I have created a access status field over here, which populates automatically access provided. If we just toggle this to no, so that workflow is deactivated.
I
Yeah.
think we lost you.
Oh, did my voice break?
Yeah, it's for me, or else no, no, to all of the people it is facing.
Oh, I just asked Ethan besides me, so I guess it was just for you. Shall I continue?
Yeah, sure. Sorry for the disturbance.
Yeah. So yes. So um yes. So I was talking about the access status over here. So what we just did is we provided this user access to the portal by hitting this toggle to yes, and the status got changed to access provided. After that, when we came back on this, after that we logged into the portal, and now what we are seeing is how to remove the access from the portal. So I've just toggled this toggle to no, and now it says that access is removed. So what this will do is this will send a notification email to the contact saying that your access to the portal has been removed. Um, and so that they're informed and they don't try to log into the portal. So let's I've also covered one more case over here, that let's say you need to give a contact access to the portal one more time. So all you need to do is just hit this toggle to yes again and just save this. And if you refresh, yeah, the status would say access renewed. So in this manner, and it will also send an email notification to the contact saying your access has been renewed. Let me check in my inbox if I receive that email. Yeah. So it does send an email notification saying that your access has been renewed. So that's so what this does is that this would help us to identify which contact has got had access previously. So what we can do, we can just pull a report that is via advanced find, and we'll have all of that data in the Excel. So it also becomes easier for the admin to monitor what level of access the contact had uh, previously, and if that contact has an access or if he has a new access. So This is pretty much about automating our local access. I'll just go back to the slide. So we just saw the workflow, how it works. Yeah. So uh, what as you saw that toggling the access sends notification to the users that they have access or their access has been removed or they have their access has been removed. So how I'm doing this is I have written a Power Automate flow which triggers on the status on the access status field. So let's just see how that flow works. So this is the flow which I've created. It says email. Yeah, I just edit this. So this flow triggers for all when a contact is modified, and I have selected the column as approve request approved. No, it's the wrong column. Yeah. This flow will trigger when the contact has been modified, and it will run when the access status has been changed. So what I'm doing here is I am just getting the label of the access status. So how you do that is if we see the runtime of this flow, if we click on show raw outputs, to take some time to load, or if we can just see in over here in this body there is a element which says custom label, which would say just 1 minute, yeah, which would say cf underscore access status label. So what I've done here is I've just added an expression which says get the access the status accesses label from our trigger body. So that's how you just get the labels from any option set field. What this flow does uh, is I've written a switch case over here which has three columns based on our option set values in our option set field, that is access provided, access removed, and access renewed. So this would just send an email to the contact for which we are providing, removing, or renewing access. And I've just added the body over here. So that's how the contact would receive notifications um, based on what we are doing in our CRM. So that's how we automate um, uh, local login access for the contacts in CRM. Um, to take this step forward, um, only authentication would not work. We have to dig a bit more down, and we'll have to assign web roles uh, to the contact to the portal contact. So sim similar to change request action, there are actions for assigning web roles provided by Microsoft in the workflow. So I have created a small use case to showcase that as well. So here is the work. Here is a simple process flow of how it would work. So we have, as we saw in our portal details section in the CRM, we have a role field as well. So what this does is based on the role that is assigned uh, to the portal contact, it would just set the web role associated to that role. So I'll just go back to our CRM, and as you can see here, there is a field called role, and we have three roles: global admin, user, and viewer. If we go to the portal management app, if we just go in the web role sections, I've created two roles, global admin, um, user, and viewer. I talk about the request access role ahead. So one important tip which most of the developers would do is set authenticated user role to yes. This is set to yes by default, and make sure that this authenticated user role is set to no. What this does is, if this is set to yes, this role uh, will be a will set as a default role to all the authenticated users. So make sure to set this role to no if you don't want any specific role to be associated with any authenticated user. So uh, based on the role over here, uh, I've created a workflow again using the actions provided by Microsoft. Let's just see how that workflow works. So I've created a workflow over here called set web roles. I'll just open this. So this workflow will run on create of a record and on a field change, that is a role, and provide access. Field and so what this workflow will do here is it will check again. It will check uh, if the provide access field is toggled to yes, and it will check if the contact contains any role. So if I just open this condition, yeah, so it will just check if the portal access field is toggled to yes and if it contains a role. Um, so if that is true, it will check what role the user um, has. For example, if the user in CRM is assigned as a user role, it will just associate the user role with the user's contact, and it will disassociate all the roles. So what this associate web role and what this disassociate web role is. So similar to change password and set security timestamp, there is a section over here called portals. So in this portals, there are various actions available. One is assign web roles, associate web roles, disassociate web roles. So what these actions do is these actions just associate web roles and disassociate web roles uh, from the portal's contact. And that's what we have used over here. So what I'm doing here is I am just assigning if a contact has a role user, I'm just assigning the user web role to that contact and disassociating all the other web roles. So why I'm disassociating all the other web roles? Because um, I don't have any functionality to track what other web roles are associated with that contact. Hence, I'm just disassociating all the other web roles from the contact. Um, if it has a global admin role, I am associating a global admin role. If it has a viewer role, I'm associating a viewer role. And if the contact has no role, I have given the contact a request access role over here. So what this request access role does is, we'll talk about that later on once we finish the local login part of the portal. So let's just activate this. And let's just go back to our contact. So now the contact has a user role. I'll just, and if we see in our portal management app, if we go to the contact section, if we open this contact, if we go in the related in the web role section, this is associated to a user role. Now what I'll do, I'll just change this to global admin. Now we'll go back to the contact over here. We'll refresh and the role gets changed to global admin and our user role gets disassociated. I'll remove a role from here. I'll save. I'll just go back to the contact over here. I'll just refresh. A request access role gets associated and the global access role gets disassociated. So that's how we associate and disassociate a role using a simple workflow which Microsoft has provided. Um, you all might be having questions that why use workflow since it is deprecating. Currently, Microsoft has not given any alternative to all these actions in Power Automate Flow, but I'm sure in future updates they'll be coming. So we just have the workflow functionality currently available, and hence I'm using the workflow. You can associate and disassociate these actions even by using plugins. So if you don't want to use a workflow, if you don't want to just use a workflow now and then if you are bothering about working using a workflow now and then needing to having to change that into a Power Automate flow, you can just write a plugin instead to associate and disassociate web roles from contacts. So let's just talk about this request access part of um, the role. So my idea over here is now we are using local authentication. So many times it happens that due to some issues or due to some glitch, there is no role associated with any contact, any portal contact, and they just end up over a access denied page. So in that case, what we can do is we can just associate a request access role against that contact. What this role would do is um, I'll just log in. Password would be they won't land on any access denied page. Where they'll land is they'll land on a request access page. So uh, from this request access page, they'll be able to create a request access record. Um, so I'll go back to the CRM. I have an access entity over here. So since we have logged in through with Golem, you can't see this record. I'll just log in via other user. Never mind. So we'll get back um, on the access denied page in our CRM. So the idea behind this page is that um, the users will just create an access request via the portal, and the admins will get notified that a access request has been created. So here they'll get notified that an access request has been submitted with the below details. And yeah, here. So an access request has been raised via customer portal with the below details and the link to the access request. So what the admin needs to do is just go on to the portal. Sorry, click on this link and he'll be redirected to the access request um, entity. Over here, he can just review the contact data and decide whether to approve or reject the request. So upon approving the request, uh, it will send a notification that to the portal contact that your request has been approved. Upon rejecting the request, it will send a notification that your request has been rejected. And also, I've written a child flow. I've written a workflow uh, which would trigger our uh, assign web role flow based if the access has been approved. So all if anyone requests access, all the admin needs to do is just go over here and click yes, and all the other things are handled by our workflows and the logic which we have designed. So that's pretty much how we reduce the efforts, the manual efforts of assigning a default password or a password and then emailing that to the portal contact. So I'll just show you the Power Automate flow which runs behind to send notifications for access requests module. So I'll just go back. So yeah, this would trigger when access request has been added or an access request has been modified, and the criteria for modified is when the request approval field has been updated. I have created a compose field just for the link of the record. I've hard coded the link over here. Um, this oh, Earlier in the earlier flow we saw that how to get the label values of an option set field. Over here we'll see how to like use the actual option set values. So the actual option set values are uh, in the int format. So if I could just browse the metadata, if I go to request access, if I see in option sets. So the all of these values, there are two values associated with the option sets. One is the text and one is the value. So these values are all int values. So if you just copy this value and paste it in your in the condition chat, it won't work. It will consider it as a string value. So all you need to do is just go in expressions, write int, and just paste that value. So what this does is if the request has been approved. This is the associated option set value for approved. It will just send an email to the sorry. Um, so the first condition is whenever a user submits the value, um, uh, we we just we have just defaulted this approval status field to value submitted. So I'll just create a approval request and show you guys. Just put ethane's name. Uh, so as you can see, the value has been defaulted to submitted. So whenever a new request has been created via the portal, um, the flow will always run in this loop, and it will send an email notification to the admin and the requestee, that is the person who has requested, saying your request has been submitted. Oh, I got a request. Yeah. So it would say that your request has been submitted. So once the user, the admin goes to the account and approves the request, it will send an email saying that your request has been approved. If the request has been rejected, it will say your request has been rejected. So that's how the approval process runs in the background. Um, we'll see. Let's see how our web roles run. So I just I have just created a short or small portal which just shows the account details for any contact. I'll just associate an account with this contact. I'll just associate this contact, this account over here. So I'll give contacts, all accounts. I'll just create one more, ABC company, and I'll associate this with yeah. So um we'll just go back to the contact record now. I'll give this contact a viewer role. I'll just save this. I'll just go back and log into the portal with the user ID. If I go on the customer, it won't let me create anything since this contact has a viewer role. So all I can do is just view the records. If I set this to a user role, I have to clear the cache now. Okay, I'll just sync the portal. Yeah. If we just reload, and you can see it is not, it is just showing one contact which is associated with uh, the user which I have logged in. If we go and if we change the global admin role, if we save it, we sync the portal one more time. It would show both the accounts. I mean, associated, uh, all the accounts which are there in the system, since this is a global, um, since this user has a global level access. So I'll go back to our slide. Um, and that's pretty much it. That's all I had for you guys today. Any questions?
Amit, sorry, Vidit, we don't have any questions as such.
Yeah. So these are my social media handles and my email. You can always contact me through LinkedIn or through the Power Platform community, um, Power User community. I'm very active on that as well. So yeah, thank you all the organizers and the sponsors for giving me the opportunity to present over here.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Vidit. Thank you so
one
much.
one question we have from Afrin,
Yes.
Vidit.
Yes.
So, how are portals different from Power Pages?
Um, I haven't actually explored more on it, but it is just an add-on over the Power Pages. Ritika today in Track 1 has given a very good session on that, so I would just suggest you to attend that for more expert knowledge.
So, Afrin, we have the recordings available, so we will be sharing it. So, when it is shared in our YouTube channel, you can go through that session from Ritika. She gave a session on Power Pages, so that will be a good start point for you. Okay, so
Yeah.
any other questions, anyone?
Seems there's no questions, Shashi.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Jiva. So I think we can have the lunch break now, and we can meet at 2 p.m. IST. Everyone.
Yep. So we'll have a quick lunch break now, and now we'll meet at 2 p.m. IST, and we have more exciting sessions coming up in the afternoon. So we have sessions on Azure Function, and then Power Page authentications, and again our second round of quiz. So make sure you guys have a good break, and let's catch up soon. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Meet in
Thank
exactly
you.
33 minutes. Thanks.